So I want to talk a little bit about the tools that we use when training dogs, and probably two of the most important ones that we use, of course, is going to be the collar and the leash. Here I have a flexi leash. It's an 8-meter long flexi leash. For those of you who are not using the metric system, you can use a calculator. And here we have a prong collar, and then it's also connected to a regular slip collar just as an extra precaution, because this is a quick release prong collar, and sometimes under certain circumstances it can open up if it gets pressed on the wrong way. So it's connected to these two, so that way even if this collar comes off, this one does not, and that way I don't lose the dog even if I lose one of the collars. There are prong collars that don't have this quick release feature, that don't come off so easily. They are all preoccupied at the moment, so I'm using this one, but honestly I like using the quick release with dogs because it's smaller prongs, and I find that they are much more effective with dogs. So how to use a flexi and especially a prong collar when you're handling a dog, because you don't even have to be a dog trainer to do this correctly. As a dog owner, you want to make sure that you are going to handle your animal in a way that is going to allow you to get the most out of them, but also not going to be of any harm to the animal. So the prong collar, as you can see, is made up of these metal prongs, and they are dull, they're not sharp, but the dog is going to, of course, feel the pressure on them if you pull on them, but the idea is to use minimal pressure. So for example, you can see he also has a flat collar on, this black collar there with the flags on it. So that's your typical dog collar that most people are going to have, and I also use them with my dogs too, especially as a collar for the name tag to be on, so if they get lost, people can find their address and home and all that. But when it comes to actually walking and training, I much prefer the prong collar. And the reason is because if you were to pull on this flat collar, you know, with a leash, all of the pressure is going to go to just one end that you're pulling against, which if you're walking behind the dog is usually going to be the front of the neck, right on the trachea, and that's going to choke the poor thing. And we don't want to choke the dog. It's uncomfortable for him, and it requires more pressure on your part. If he has a full body vest on, that's going to require significantly more pressure on your end, because you're going to have to really yank this thing like you're trying to start a lawnmower in order for the dog to feel anything, because all of that pressure, the pressure that would be felt from pulling or popping the leash is being distributed across his entire body, so overall he's feeling basically nothing. Whereas with the prong collar, it's going to distribute the pressure equally around his neck, and no one area is going to get too much of it, so it doesn't hurt as much as the same amount of pressure applied to a flat collar. But also I have to only do a very little with popping a collar like this in order to get the dog to respond to it. So how do you use that when you're trying to get the dog to respond to it? Well, for example, let's say I want to have Bentley come over to me, but if he doesn't come over right away, I'm going to pop on the collar to lure him here. Bentley, here! Now I'm going to pop. Pop again. Bentley, here! Yes, good boy! All right, and so the prong collar and the leash were acting together to help lure him to where I wanted him to go. As you can see, I hardly did anything there. All I did was give him a little tug, and that was sufficient for him to get the idea, oh, I have to go in this direction. Or for instance, if I ask him to sit, Bentley, sit. And he's doing it on his own. Sit. I'm going to give him a little pop to help him out. Sit. There he goes, nice and steady. So there I give a little pop in the collar in the direction I want him to go. I want him to sit down, so I pop that way. If I wanted him to lay down, I might pop downward. So the direction matters. But again, these are just little pops. I'm not yanking the dog. I'm not dragging him across the yard. Not that I could drag a 180-pound dog anywhere. And yeah, that's the way that I like using, or the reasons why I like using the prong collar, and how you can be effective in using them too.